This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
Annual flag raising ceremony conducted. Public servants challenged to do better. And Police Department launches legal framework. Good evening and happy 48th Independence, Papua New Guinea. You're watching National Emtv News. I'm Malcolm Wyra. Thank you for joining us. The annual flag-raising ceremony was conducted at the Independence Hill at the National Parliament in Waigani, Port Moresby. This is to commemorate the country's 48th Independence Day.
In commemorating the nation's 48th Independence Day, which falls on the 16th of September, the traditional flag-raising ceremony commenced earlier this morning at around 5 a.m. Guests and dignitaries arrived. Later on, acting on behalf of the Deputy Prime Minister John Rosso was Treasurer Ian Ling-Stuckey, who was the keynote speaker of the ceremony. Formalities commenced starting with the blessing of the PNG national flag. Crowds who gathered witnessed as the flag party raised the national flag. Mr. Stuckey gave his Independence Anniversary keynote address, elaborating on the reflection of the country's progress since 1975.
Proudly a Christian country. We are proudly a democratic country. We are proudly a country that wants to take back Papua New Guinea, opening up more and fairer opportunities for all our peoples, for all our districts and our provinces.
Mr. Stuckey further emphasized on the prospects of the country's economy and economic independence.
In 1975, our economy was 1.8 billion kina. This year, our economy is expected to reach 113 billion kina, over 60 times greater. And with strong growth policies, with a particular focus on our rural and agricultural economy, we expect to have a 200 billion economy by 2030 and a 300 billion economy by 2035.
After the flag-raising ceremony, VIPs and dignitaries departed for the Independence Boulevard for the National Day Parade. Grace Papiali, National Emtv News.
The country's 48th independence anniversary was a time of reflection on the development of the country thus far. Shared sentiments were elaborated by Treasurer Ian Ling-Stuckey when delivering his keynote address in this morning's flag-raising ceremony at the Independence Hill in Waigani, Port Moresby. Stuckey stated that better government structures and accountability is expected as 2050 is approaching.
Papua New Guinea has been politically independent for 48 years. However, economic independence is still a struggle for the full development of this nation. In the sectors of better health services, law and order, and households struggling with the rise in prices of goods and services, formal employment or little to no job opportunities have been some of the major setbacks of development for the country. Treasurer Ian Ling-Stuckey, whilst emphasizing in these areas, upheld that with better reviewing in policies and improved governance, the people can equally benefit.
For many, the hopes and dreams of independence have not been fully realized. We know that too many of our households are still struggling with the cost of living pressures, even with the largest 1,177 million household assistance package delivered in our history. We know that the law and order situation needs tremendous improvements for our people to feel safe and secure. We know that gender-based violence continues at unacceptable levels. We know that our education and health indicators are well below what our people reasonably expect. We know that not enough of our people have clear opportunities to better incomes and formal employment.
With 2050 approaching, better government structure is expected.
And we believe that we are putting in place the policies to better meet our people's aspirations. Countless policy improvements, such as the signature PNG Connect program, which continues to unlock access to our rural communities.
Grace Papiale, National Emtv News.
Reflecting on the road to independence for Papua New Guinea, the governor for National Capital District, Powers Pakop, emphasized on what the country sought out to gain from the very start, the national goals and directive principles. The governor encouraged that everyone is responsible to achieve this vision.
The National Parliament and
laying the foundation of the independent Papua New Guinea vision is this country's national goals and directive principles. These being integral human development, equality and participation, national sovereignty and self-reliance, national resources and environment, Papua New Guinea ways, basic rights and basic social obligation. These, the governor said, are important aspects moving forward for the country.
2025, our milestone Golden Jubilee, we must intensify our effort to honor and respect these sacred deeds and goals. This is a responsibility that we all carry collectively.
He added that the founding fathers of Papua New Guinea were able to gain independence by achieving something thought impossible for a diversified country as Papua New Guinea: unity. The governor said in the spirit of this legacy, the people must together work towards achieving these national aspirations.
To each and every one of us, firstly, to the leaders of our country, at the national level, provincial, district, and all levels, including tribes and clans and families. I call on you all to honor the legacy, the heritage of our founding fathers by recommitting ourselves to serving our country and our people to the highest good.
He said this in his public address to Port Moresby during the national parade that followed the national flag raising ceremony this morning in the nation's capital to commemorate Papua New Guinea's 48th independence. Natasha Ovoy, National Emtv News.
Meanwhile, during these celebrations commemorating the profound day in the country's making, the nation's capital district governor, Powers Pakop, challenged the public servants to do better than what they had done in the past 47 years.
With over 25 government ministries and around 105,000 plus employed, according to 2017 statistics, the public service remains the sector with the highest number of employees. Addressing this majority was the governor for NCD, Powes Pakop, who described the public servants as the mechanism that can work with the government and the people to drive development, especially towards achieving the country's aspirations.
You are the mechanism by which our founding fathers of the state designed, in which you will help our leaders to deliver the goals and aspirations of our people.
The governor added with a challenge to the public servants to do better than they had done in their respective fields for the past 47 years for this country.
To multiply your effort. We can absolutely do better than we have been doing in the last 48 years coming to now.
The governor in his address as well extended this challenge to leaders in the parliament, to clan leaders and the female population of Papua New Guinea to strive for positive change in the interest to build Papua New Guinea.
After 48 years of independence, Western Highlands Province finally held a flag-raising ceremony at the Independence Hill this morning. The event was officiated by the governor for the Western Highlands Province, Wairapa.
As early as 5 o'clock in the morning, people of Western Highlands Province gathered at the Independence Hill to witness the flag-raising ceremony in the province. Among them were the Correctional Institute services along with the police force who were there to take part in the event. The event proceeded with a parade conducted by the CIS and the police officers. The flag was raised by 4 female officers from CIS and the Royal PNG Constabulary. Governor Rapa, upon giving his independence speech, encouraged the people of Western Highlands Province to be independent in all aspects of life.
Speakers, you must have of independence. Western Highlands, as previous, as they may talk, peace must prevail along Western Highlands. So islands return, Ebakama Butla, Western Highlands must take lead. Law and order. Now peace must come up to this province. This province, as they meet up finish, it must come up also in one place, Jerusalem. Mount Hagen City must come up also in Jerusalem.
Rapa says the Western Highlands Province for the first time has witnessed the flag-raising ceremony after 48 years. Rapa says God has given them the great province full of all the good resources and good food, and they must be thankful for that. Sharon Engnui, National Emtv News.
Western Highlands Province yesterday hosted a small but significant event to restore what's described to be the province's pride, the emblem, the eagle. Governor of the province, Wairapa, backed by the Provincial Executive Board and the Eagles players, took part to officiate the restoration ceremony.
The lost pride for Western Highlands Province, the eagle, has been restored yesterday at the Independence Hill in Mount Hagen as part of the province to observe and celebrate the country's birth. Waiting to receive the eagle was the governor for the province, Wairapa, together with its Provincial Executive Board and the Eagles players. According to the governor, the eagle sculpture has been missing for so long and has come back to its original home. The eagle first entered the province in the late 1930s by the German colonizers. Many locals have been longing for the return of the eagle for more than 8 years. Governor Rapa, upon welcoming the emblem, says Western Highlands Province is restored as the lost eagle, which was known to be the pride of Western Highlands Province, as said by the forefathers of the province.
Strong role, Papa put him here, you mean, I look sabe. Now me talk sorry, no some wrong you mean making. Some politics, district office, you mean Barabi more. When you go lose, you mean talk sorry, and now Western Highlands pride long must today and must be restored.
The Mount Hagen Eagles rugby team took the initiative to place the emblem to where it used to be. Governor Rapa assured the team that there will be improvements going forward. Prior to restoring the emblem of the province at the Independence Hill, a convoy vehicles displaying the eagle inside Mount Hagen town before the public then rested at the Mara House for a small welcome ceremony. Students from Kuiwampnga High School also took part in this significant ceremony. Sharon Engnui, National Emtv News.
National Emtv News continues after the break with more stories. Stay with us. You're watching National Emtv News. Papua New Guinea's Commissioner of Police, David Manning, has announced the legal framework and legislative reforms of the PNG Royal Constabulary at a press conference held yesterday. The press conference was held to give an update of the policing operations in the country.
Commissioner Manning has revealed 4 new acts as part of the police legal framework. The acts are Domestic Terrorism Act, the Police Act, the Criminal Code Act, and Police Power and Obligation Act. Commissioner Manning announced the plans to introduce the Domestic Terrorism Act, which is currently a bill. This act has never been considered in the country.
A Domestic Terrorism Act has never been considered in this country. We have looked across many jurisdictions of similar government and legal frameworks as we have in Papua New Guinea, and we believe that the Domestic Terrorism Act bill, so the Domestic Terrorism Bill, is the best way to best secure our country going to the future.
Manning also said that they are in the process of introducing a counter-terrorism team called the Kumul 23.
We are now in the process of recruiting for our Tier 1 or counter-terrorism group called the Kumul 23. And that, if you can appreciate that, that will take some time. At the earliest, we will be able to stand up an effective unit within 2 to 3 months. But this is a medium to long-term solution.
The commissioner said the legislative reforms are taking place at the moment.
As I mentioned earlier, we have the legislative reforms taking place. We have started reviewing our Police Act, and we'll continue to ensure that the Police Act ensures that our force is agile and empowered to protect. We are now looking at modernizing the Criminal Code Act that will ensure our laws confront the challenges of the modern criminal environment. And we're also looking at bringing in a piece of legislation called the Police Powers and Obligations Act, and this will ensure our police have the powers to enforce the rule of law, and our community can hold our police accountable to the highest standards of professional conduct. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the Domestic Terrorism Act.
He says the crime types that are developing in the country are not only increased in frequency but also in severity. Louis Maingu, National Emtv News.
Police Commissioner David Manning clarified the misleading social media posts about the criminal investigations and the intended actions towards the UBS loan investigations yesterday at a press conference.
Specialist Operations, Mr. Donald Yamasombi.
Commissioner David Manning made mention that there is a commission of inquiry in the UBS loan as a result of fake news circulating on social media.
The UBS Commission of Inquiry did uncover many leads for the police force, for our investigation team. But that is a separate process. That was purely a Commission of Inquiry stood up by the Commission of Inquiry Act to deal with a certain process, and that process being the Commission of Inquiry.
Commissioner said the police have initiated its own criminal investigation towards the UBS loan to be brought to justice.
It goes beyond that. We've set up a proceeds of crime task force that basically follows the money trail. This was not covered in the Commission inquiry, even though the evidence was given to the Commission inquiry. But from a purely criminal investigation, this is the best way we can proceed in conducting a criminal investigation to bring those who were responsible for the UBS loan and facilitating the UBS loan and all the other bank transactions and the money transactions that are associated with the UBS loan to be brought to justice. This is not a political witch hunt. This is what the evidence is able to sustain any alleged offence.
Manning further elaborated on the investigation.
Cause for people to be concerned. They know who they are. And as such, the best way or the cheapest way they can undermine our investigations is coming up with all sorts of false media statements or false social media posts or media posts that are highly false and highly defamatory in nature to sway some public opinion.
Manning clarified that their criminal investigation towards the UBS loan is different from the Commission of Inquiry. Louis Maingu, National Emtv News.
While many woke up to celebrate the country's 48th Independence Day today, others made their way to the market today, celebrating the Independence Day, selling their fresh produce at the market.
Gordon's Market was busy today with street vendors roaming the Gordon's Market as well as vegetable sellers doing their day-to-day activities selling their fresh produce at the market. For these vegetable sellers making ends meet for their families, when asked how they would have celebrated the country's Independence Day, especially today, the 16th of September 2023. While the market was full with garden produce, the vegetable sellers still had something to say and pass on their independence greetings.
Okay, me as a mama, me come to market was independence, but life of city am hard so. Me call morning lo market na sun ba mi go na celebrating independence na ba mi go.
Me no got line bro help me so independence and ba mi go celebrating lo sun time na morning time and me come market lo after time tassel me come market.
Market still on yet so me karim lili go kage me karim come enough lo me stop lo wale me amamas lo independence lo place but mi karim mi are mo so market mi karim lili kage me come.
Gorets market mi pla mama mi pla mas lo mi pla market because mi pla mas lo katri bem pla and bede pla katri mi pla come up. O sea na mi pla very mol PNG all flexed na mi pla mas lo mi pla come market.
Plus lo Gordon's Market. Thank you NCDC lo opening la market lo display day lo mi pla market na salim all goods mi pla na all customer come round na buy mi kaiga mi pla na mi pla stores them. Thank you very much. Happy Independence Papua New Guinea. Thank you.
Meanwhile, celebrating the country's 48th independence, the new Ella Beach was packed with families as they gathered in their numbers to witness the independence activities taking place at Ella Beach. While the stage was busy with entertainment, the streets of Ella Beach were also busy with food stalls and PNG arts and crafts markets selling PNG-made goods. Not only did the event attract Papua New Guineans, but tourists also came along to witness and enjoy the day at Ella Beach to celebrate PNG's 48th independence, as many walked around with the PNG colours. Godwin Eki, National Emtv News.
Delta Fly District Development Authority has commenced its student sponsorship program this year, with a total of 650,000 kina being allocated to 54 different training institutions across the country. A total of 290 students of Delta Fly District are sponsored, says the sponsorship coordinator, Baxter Oimu.
In the previous years, not much attention has been given to school leavers, especially the youth that drop out from school in the Delta Flight District, says the sponsorship coordinator. Mr. Oimu says a member for Delta Fly is now embarking on putting funds aside to sponsor students into tertiary institutions.
Is to ensure that under the leadership of the member elected, Honorable Agena Gamai, he intends to prioritize education as the key sector within the district. And he believes that as every dispensation of leadership comes, they must always build the next generation. And those are the people that will carry on the development challenges of the district into the future.
He says this sponsorship program commenced this year and will roll out in the next 5 years.
We have commenced the sponsorship program with 650,000 being allocated early this year by the Delta Fly District Development Authority. And we got about 290 students into 54 different training institutions.
He highlighted that among the 290 students, 37 students have been sent to MAPEX Training Institute.
About 13% or 12% was sent into MAPEX Training Institute to take business and other technical studies, particularly plant operators and light motor vehicle driving. And we've only catered for them with the upfront payments around March, and about 57,600 was paid. And then mid this year, around June, we paid the rest of the outstanding.
Estagane, National Emtv News.
Among many challenges faced in the Delta Fly district of Western Province, the sponsorship coordinator at the office of the Delta Fly MP, Baxter Oimu, stressed that no account left for them to start as a new district with no permanent district administrator to start with. He also mentioned that proper schools with teachers is much needed in the district.
Only challenge we had was that when the middle fly was splitted, the account left us. But the rest of the establishment from the old district, we retained everything, including the existing infrastructure. The only challenge we had was that the DA was acting until he was given his permanent appointment as the district administrator. We had the challenge with the district procurement committee, and it was recently established last week, Thursday. The schools, primary schools, don't have enough teachers.
The Usino local level government in Medang's Usino Bundi district will be the only district in the province prepared to celebrate the country's 48th independence. The LLG's president and ward councillors held a special assembly meeting on Wednesday and passed a budget totaling 340,000 kina set for the independence celebrations.
Chairing the special assembly on Wednesday was the president of Usino LLG and deputy governor of Medang province, Pewa Aimai, who announced that all the 34 wards within the district were allocated 10,000 kina each as support funds to host the celebrations. Mr. Aimai explained that the funds were from the royalty grants from the Ramu nickel mine from last year, which was rolled over to this year.
Independence something where all poor para belum apply kisim. Na you na ignore him na looking most of independence by go nothing. You must think him time. Ship summary in kisim is independence and make him lot away. Make him independence. So now you must celebrate him. Have him flag one top. Now you play culture and all things must come up.
During the assembly meeting, all the ward councillors agreed to the arrangement, sharing similar sentiments of the importance of the country's independence. Ward 20 councillor Sirax Kawaki thanked the deputy governor of Medang for his wisdom in sharing the royalty which would go to assist each ward.
Another plus something why 10,000 kina each to watch some celebrations lo bung place number them no god so me play taking go lo 1-1 watch because planting knife now all attitude problems it cost him events in a prank good lot celebrations. So me karem go 1-1 word. So I'm making me manager.
This makes Usino the only LLG in Medang province to have its own available funds to celebrate Papua New Guinea's 48th independence, as the Medang provincial budget for 2023 still remained closed. Natasha Ovoy, National Emtv News.
National Emtv News continues after the break with Chukai Sports. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. The winner of the 2023 ExxonMobil Rugby League competition, Enga Miox, were given a rousing welcome by the people of Enga province yesterday. The welcome ceremony also coincided with the pre-independence celebrations at Ipus Oval in Wabek Town.
A jubilant crowd gathered and cheered as the prized cup was taken to the grandstand by Miox coach Billy Gao, trainer Nathan Anjo, and the team management to present to the provincial governor Se Peter Ipatas. Minister for Higher Education, Science and Technology and Sport, Don Polier, and Vice Sports Minister and Member for Chuave, James Nomane, were also present to witness the occasion. Polier, who had been tasked by the national government to advocate peace in the fighting zones in Enga province, congratulated the Miox for their outstanding performance so far. He also revealed that the Miox team would be engaged as ambassadors for peace in the province to encourage the youths to engage in all sporting codes apart from rugby league. Chuave MP James Nomane also congratulated the Miox for their consistency in being the best rugby league team this year and proving critics wrong that Enga was not capable of teamwork. Meanwhile, Enga Governor Se Peter Ipatas, while expressing the same sentiments, urged the people to do away with tribal fighting. The governor also took the opportunity to announce that Prime Minister James Marape had committed 300,000 kina regarding the announcement made by Sports Minister Polier. He said the funding was to assist Team Miox to engage with youths in the district, to advocate peace and to push for youths to take up sports. Se Ipatas said Miox had shown how teamwork, unity and made everyone proud, and this mentality must be embraced by everyone so that Enga can prosper and become a peaceful place for everyone. Natasha Ovoy, Chukai Sports.
Chukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports.
You're watching Chukai Sports. The Port Moresby Soccer Association played their preliminary rounds yesterday at the Bicini Park.
The Port Moresby Soccer Association played their washout games for both the preliminary games and their youth games at the Bicini Oval. The washout games was for the other rounds that was suspended due to no time and the recent Rugby Grand Final.
Youth division games played earlier in the morning, and this is the current last youth game, and then the main game will be a premier game between University Soccer Club and Leylam Football Club. That was a washout game when we had at the Digital Cup Grand Final, so we have to call that game off due to safety of everyone involved in football.
He also gave an update on the current leading teams for the Premier League.
So that's week 12 game. That's following next weekend. All divisions. We'll start with all divisions from youth division right up to Premier Division. So we just had a break this Independence weekend only. Only the washout games for the youth and one Premier game will play today.
Matthews said the other rounds will be played in the coming weeks.
So that's week 12 game. That's following next weekend.
With the women?
All divisions. We'll start with all divisions from youth division right up to Premier Division. So we just celebrate this Independence weekend only. Only the washout games for the youth and one Premier game will play today.
Natasha Avoy, Chukai Sports.
That ends Chukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
The weather forecast for the next 24 hours. For the southern region, Port Moresby City, sunny and windy conditions. Popondetta, partly cloudy.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Saturday, the 16th of September 2023. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Good night.
This news program was proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Gold Nuggets.